On tonight's CTV News, the Christchurch City Council is looking at a $15 million plan to protect the Flockton Basin. Former MP Jim Anderton is fighting the toughest battle of his career, and businesses in the east are fed up with being ignored and are taking things into their own hands. This is CTV News. I'm Grant Mangan. The Christchurch City Council today put forward the options for fixing flooding in the Flockton Basin. With the land resettling after the Canterbury earthquakes, houses around Dudley Creek, as we saw recently, have become more susceptible to flooding. Patrick Phelps reports.
The flooding earlier this month was felt in homes across Christchurch, nowhere more severely than in the Flockton Basin. Today, the City Council's Environment General Manager and the Land Drainage Operations Manager announced the two options being considered to give us greater certainty in future events. We'll get to the options in a second, but first of all, what's the problem? Well, Flockton Basin's low, lower than it used to be, and there's not enough room for the water to drain when it needs to.
The nub of the issue that we're facing here is one of waterway capacity. You have existing channel capacity that cannot take the flows that have been directed into it.
This picture here shows in red what the stream can take at the moment, and the black arrows show what flows through, or perhaps overflows, through Dudley Creek in a 1 in 50 year event like we had earlier this month. Some places are trying to hold double the water they can. It's not that these areas weren't flood prone pre-quake, but since the quake things are a whole lot worse. So what can we do? Well, there were two main options put to the council today. Option 1 involves making the creek deeper and wider. It seems logical, but brings problems such as cutting into private land.
And there's also quite significant consenting issues. But this is the gravity option. It requires a major, not a major deepening, a significant amount of works within the waterway, resulting in deepening and widening.
This option is considered the most natural and the most effective. The main problem is that in the event of another quake, any work done deepening or widening it will be undone. But there are a number of benefits.
It will mean a wider stream corridor. It will mean potentially narrower roads. It will mean a change in the streetscape in terms of the trees and the look and the feel of the place.
And option 2? A little more complicated. It involves pump stations and will be slightly less effective. The big advantage is it will be faster to put in place because they won't have to go through discussions with private landowners and sorting out consents.
This option here is a pump station up in this area here in the Flockton Basin area. That has the effect of drawing down water levels within Flockton Basin, though that water will be pumped to the intersection of Warden Street and Stapleton's Road, where there'll be a bypass inlet structure.
The total cost of option 1 is $50 million. The total cost of option 2 is $53 million. The advantage of option 1 is it has greater capacity and doesn't rely on electricity. The options went before the council today and are under consideration. Both plans will need to undergo community consultation. Patrick Phelps, CTV News.
The east side of the city will have life injected into it by local business. After feeling neglected by the Christchurch City Council and Canterbury Earthquake Recovery Authority, a new project will see major plans being funded by local business and public donations.
Taking things into their own hands, businesses in the east are looking to brighten the area themselves.
We've been waiting this entire time for the council to turn up and save us. You know, it's been like waiting for a bus that's never going to arrive.
Tony Brooks owns a local business in New Brighton called Pierside Cafe and Bar. He's seen many in the area pack up and leave, and he came close to doing the same himself.
And I was ready to walk away out of pure frustration, and the point where I didn't feel that there was any chance, really, of turning this around.
But now he's working alongside the New Brighton Business and Landowners Association to develop the area back to its former glory after the earthquake.
On top of that, New Brighton has lost entire suburbs like Bexley, just wiped out. It's lost significant parts of its own housing. It's lost all of its shops in the southern part of the peninsula, literally all of them, gone. It's lost an incredible amount of community spirit.
The Strategic Urban Rejuvenation Force project is using corporate sponsorship and public donations to attract the investment into the abandoned east.
And these guys are struggling, really struggling with their own identity as a community.
The SURF project will officially be launched in 3 weeks, with the announcement of key projects that Mr Brooks believes will lift New Brighton.
It's always nice to have a project that can maybe leave a legacy. Not only can you do something for monetary reasons, but you can also benefit a community, re-instill hope back into it, and leave it with some pride. And as a businessman, to be able to do that at the same time with a social conscience as you can with a financial perspective, that's the ultimate goal.
But to get things underway, they're starting a Pledge Me campaign to help raise money before asking the Canterbury Earthquake Recovery Authority to match their costs.
We're going out internationally with our hands out saying, please help. It's embarrassing that we should actually have to do this.
The local businesses had hoped a change of council with Leanne Dalzell as mayor would bring them more support than what they were previously receiving.
And unfortunately, that's why I think she's got the hardest job in New Zealand right now. She had to deliver that bad news and tell people there is no money. You know, there is nothing coming. But I, too, am disappointed in the fact that I haven't seen one thing from her that has been created or focused on to benefit the East.
The campaign hopes to raise $10 million for the 8 key projects included in their plan. Emma Cropper, CTV News.
The number of homeless Cantabrians is growing as the city heads into another cold winter. The Christchurch City Mission is fielding urgent calls every day from new clients seeking help.
Last year's winter was cold, soon temperatures will start to drop again. The number of homeless people in the city is growing. Compound the two together and the city's missioner fears the worst.
I don't think have had death by freezing yet, but it may not be far off. We've got to come to terms with this homeless problem. We've got to find accommodation for people that is safe and that is warm.
This charity dinner highlights how serious the problem is. Dozens of people all seeking shelter, food and clothing. Each week the mission has about 10 new people needing help.
I think it is getting worse. We have a number of inquiries every week from people who are homeless or who know that they are shortly going to be homeless.
These are new clients, people who have never needed help before.
They're people who have probably never been to the mission before in their lives, and now suddenly they're thrust into a new environment where they can't afford the rent that's being asked in the community, and they're pretty desperate for housing.
Recently, Christchurch City Councillor Glenn Livingston and Deputy Mayor Vicky Buck both told CTV News how worried they are for those living it rough. But the city has no official figures to back up their fears. The city's leaders just know that it's a big problem.
It's sort of difficult because how do you define homelessness? Are you homeless if you're staying with a relation? Are you homeless if you're living in somebody's garage? It's really difficult.
Some people are so embarrassed by their situation, they'll sleep rough and tell no one.
I can't imagine not knowing where you're going to be in a day or in a week's time. And that awful fear of will you be able to afford to be anywhere? And I suppose the worry that winter's coming on, and what's that going to be like for you?
At the dinner I met a 16-year-old boy who'd been homeless for 6 months. His parents no longer wanted to know him. The city's mission is worried about what's happening to the youth living on the streets.
I suspect some of them live in pretty unsavoury conditions, and that's a tragedy.
Michael Gorman says the problem's so big it can only be solved by the government, the city council and the community working together on providing further accommodation for desperate people in need. Marcus Gibbs, CTV News.
Former Cabinet Minister Jim Anderton is fighting one of the toughest battles of his career. The seasoned politician is trying his best to save the Christchurch Cathedral, but the Anglican diocese is pushing ahead with plans to demolish it.
For more than 2 years, the Great Christchurch Buildings Trust has been facing off the Anglican Church in and out of the courtrooms. In a month's time, they'll be back in court, but the church has already pushed its views out into the public forum, publishing this ad in yesterday's Christchurch Press. The ad lays out the church property trustees' argument against restoring. Christchurch Cathedral restoration campaigner Jim Anderton was shocked by the ad. He says the Anglican Church's criticism of the restoration efforts is factually incorrect. He finds the timing of the ad a bit strange.
Well, it's very odd. We're just 4 weeks out from a court hearing, and normally you don't make comment about issues that are going before the court. And the church has done this before, and I was very reluctant to get involved.
But after the advertisement, his lawyers have advised him to comment on the issue.
We've shown how that can be done by reputable engineers of world class, no question, independent engineers from us, who we commissioned to give us that report, and the church has got a copy of it.
In the advertisement, the church has accused the trust of removing items from the engineering reports. Jim Anderton says the trust has removed items from the report because they account for many years of inflation, which have pushed cost estimates up. He's getting tired of the long fight over the building, but he's not planning to give up anytime soon.
when you're looking at historic buildings like this, you only get one chance.
Had they not stepped in, things would have been different.
We took a court case to stop the building being knocked down 2 years ago, and if we hadn't, it would have been knocked down by now.
And if the church had agreed from the start, the building wouldn't still be a ruin.
But if we had had a commitment to restore it in the beginning, we could have had it almost finished by now.
By the sounds of it, there's no chance of a compromise.
Problem is, what is the compromise? I mean, the compromise is the building either stays or goes.
Both parties will head to court in 4 weeks' time to fight it out. Marcus Gibbs, CTV News.
Coming up, hundreds of desperate Cantabrians are still waiting for urgent repairs.
Arts 21 showcases the vast creative talent and minds that are making a name for themselves in Europe and beyond. Think outside the square with Arts 21. Monday morning at 10:30.
Hurst Auto Dismantlers, your one-stop shop for all your mechanical and car part needs. Our huge premises boasts a large selection of mechanical parts, panels, tyres and glass. Most makes and models are available on site, and if we don't have it, our trusted staff will do their best to source what you need locally and nationwide. So come in and see the team, or just give us a call and save time and money. Hurst Auto Dismantlers, 343 0099.
Hi, I'm Rob Cope-Williams.
I'm Robin Frew, celebrant for Canterbury Christian Funeral Services. I'm there to speak for people who can't speak for themselves.
Robin and I know that as celebrants, it's our role to make the day as special as it certainly can be. It's a celebration of your loved one's life, so it's important that we do everything we can to make it memorable.
You can't underestimate the value of a funeral service. Please contact Rob or myself at Canterbury Christian Funeral Services.
Christchurch has its very own enchanted utopia, the Hitching Post. Pop in and see for yourself. A magical assortment of handmade creations, custom-made candles and artwork. Choose from our huge range of water features, garden art and imported giftware. Specialists in handcrafted metal artwork made in store. Nestled on 722 Marshlands Road. The Hitching Post, defining art our way.
Is this your year to upgrade your existing interior? Then head into Bathroom and Flooring Warehouse for the latest styles in European vanities, showers and baths, all at affordable prices. Bathroom and Flooring Warehouse also stock a large selection of carpets and vinyl for all your flooring needs. To view our full range, head into 159 Waterloo Road, Hornby, or visit bathroomandflooring.co.nz.
Join me tonight as I talk to the influential people in and around Canterbury and take a look at what's going on in our community. Tonight at 10, Canterbury Live.
Hundreds of desperate Cantabrians are still waiting for urgent earthquake repairs.
Recent media coverage has highlighted vulnerable Canterbury earthquake claimants, but as it turns out, there are still hundreds stuck in similar situations. The Christchurch Press has reported that more than 800 vulnerable Canterbury earthquake claimants are yet to settle with their insurers. The Insurance Council of New Zealand estimates that more than 5,000 of the region's most at-risk residents are still waiting for their damaged homes to be repaired or rebuilt. ICNZ spokesman Samson Samasoni told the press about 4,200 customers who met a criteria for vulnerability were identified last year. By the end of 2013, that number had been reduced by 79%. Samasoni told the press he estimates there's still more than 800 out there awaiting their claim to be completely closed. He says because the customers are over cap, repairs or rebuilds, they won't be closed for up to 12 months. EQC figures given to the press from February show 4,220 deemed vulnerable were awaiting repairs, while more than 7,000 had been settled already. EQC staff have identified about 1,500 new vulnerable customers since mid-January.
A one-man play in Christchurch tonight focuses on a lesser-known Antarctic explorer. New Zealand, and particularly Canterbury, played a part in the British Antarctic expeditions. Tom Crane was part of both of Robert Scott's journeys and Sir Ernest Shackleton's, the only man on all three. Patrick Phelps reports.
Born in Ireland in the 1870s into ordinary circumstances, Tom Crane lived an extraordinary life. These two men have strong ties to the strong Irishman. Aidan Dooley researched and wrote the one-man play in which he's acted as Tom Crane for 12 years now.
I have pictures of him which I always bring with me, even here in New Zealand. I have some pictures that I put around the mirror before They always had tanned faces, these guys, and when they were, because of the sun, the reflection of the sun on the eyes. So I'd always put a bit of makeup on that would brown up my face a bit.
Tom Crane was born into a large family. He went to sea, but one of his brothers shifted to New Zealand, and that's why Brian Honeybone is sitting here today. He's Tom's great nephew. He's been researching Tom Crane's history for over 15 years, and he says there's no one he respects more.
For an Irish lad that the family probably couldn't feed because they didn't have enough spuds, and he got it one way or another. He left home and got into the British Navy as a deckhand, I think.
Tom Crane took care of the animals on the expeditions and was responsible for food stocks. Though an unsung hero, he played a big part on the ship's discovery, Terra Nova and Endurance. One of few men to serve on all three, he came into his role largely by chance.
And he was on the British brigantine here in Littleton when Scott lost one of his men, and he called for volunteers, and Tom Crane was one of the ones that puts his hand up, and probably had no idea what he was getting into, but he actually was in the Antarctic longer than any of the others, longer than Scott.
Tom Crane's stories have been published, but are less known than those of Scott and Shackleton. The play starts tonight at 6 o'clock, and sorry, tickets are sold out. Patrick Phelps, CTV News.
Skyrocketing house prices mean Christchurch's landlords are making more from capital gains than from renting properties. According to research from Westpac Bank, some rental properties grew in value by between 12 and 14% last year.
The figures are based on rents during 2013 and the change in yearly market values over the last 3 years. Doing best are landlords in Christchurch's southwest, particularly Hornby, Hihi and Sockburn. Two-bedroom apartments saw the biggest capital gains in New Brighton, St Albans and Richmond. The highest return on rental properties is in Woolston, Phillipstown and Aranui, where gross rents costs such as rates, insurance and maintenance average between 6 and 7% of a property's worth. Westpac says Christchurch's unique economic and societal circumstances of the rebuild make it a rare place where investors can choose between good rental incomes and capital gain. While Westpac's report says Christchurch is an appealing place to invest, Auckland still has greater capital gains and investors in Dunedin receive the highest rental returns.
Still to come, we have the business, traffic and weather updates.
Be watching CTV News first at 5 and you could win up to $5,000 every week with CTV's cash giveaways. For more information, visit our website and be watching CTV News first at 5.
Hi, I'm Steve and welcome to Carpet Kingdom. At Carpet Kingdom we stock a massive range of carpets and we're also the largest vinyl stockist in the South Island. And not only do we have an excellent range in store, but you can purchase our stock online. We offer free measuring quotes, we have our own installation team, we ship nationwide, so come on down and see us at Carpet Kingdom. 312 Wilsons Road in Waltham, just off Brougham Street, or visit us online at carpetkingdom.co.nz.
Our new companion package is a personalised service for those that need extra help and support. A cost-effective solution for someone who needs more than just a taxi driver. Our drivers are handpicked from our experienced team and specialise in providing the right support and companionship. Home safe every time with Blue Star Taxis.
Hi, I'm Mark and welcome to Staywell Pharmacy. Whatever the season, Staywell Pharmacy has you covered. As an integrated pharmacy, we stock all the well-known pharmacy medicines, as well as quality nutritional and herbal treatments. Our team of pharmacists and full-time naturopath are here to help you find the products and advice to suit the needs of you and your family. So come in and see us at Staywell Pharmacy, 27 Shands Road in Hornby. Staywell Pharmacy, live well, stay well.
My son's helped me greatly with my independence now that I've got more mobility. Mum, I've been looking into stand assist chairs from More Mobility. They recline back with a footrest, then when you want to get out of them, they stand you up. You can even sleep on them. More Mobility can bring one out for a free trial. There's even electric beds too. What do you think? For more range and more expert advice, see More Mobility, corner Clarence and Princess Streets off Blenheim Road.
What a difference More Mobility makes.
G'day, this is Fletch, your presenter of the TV show Classic Restos. It's the show where it's your chance to see completed restorations being shown, driven and enjoyed.
Now let's join Warren Head with this week's business news.
I'm Warren Head from headliner.co.nz. More good news this week. Again, on the rural side, an $818 million trade surplus for February, and that's really good going. It's showing how big the export market has become for the country, despite our high currency. We're up about 86 cents to US dollar if you're travelling. What a little bit of a benefit that gives you these days, or going to Australia on holiday soon. So don't miss out on that if you've got a choice. But the money coming through from milk in particular and other commodities is really going well. And we also saw the big co-op Fonterra come out with the greatest ever cash payout advice for farmers, $8.75 for a kg of milk solids, which is how they measure milk these days. And in respect to the rest of us, that means about $14 billion coming into the economy. And Fonterra's been careful to say this time that 50 cents in every dollar will find its way through to us folks in the urban areas. And the other 50 cents will go to you folks on the countryside. So we're both starting to share in this. Now, here in Canterbury, we're starting to see one of the local companies really perk up because of this trend. Synlait Milk out with a 78% increase in half-yearly profit through to $12 million for the half year, mostly earnings off their milk powder, their cream products. Will that help them? Yes, it sure will. They're going to look now at expanding their second infant formula and nutritional spray dryer, so that's good news. It's going to be a 25% greater capacity, and they're going to look at putting in a fourth large spray dryer as well. So more construction work out on the countryside related to Synlait. However, in town, where's the money going? Well, we're starting to see retailers show some rather unusual trends. Hellestein Glassons came out with a 40% drop in their half-yearly profit, and that looked really worrying, but they said the first few weeks of the next period that they report on, the current 6 months, things have turned right around. So that's interesting. It's very competitive out there for retailers right now, and they are all battling to try and get this mix right. The ASB Bank came out today with the thing called the Cantometer, something that the bank economists have invented to tell us how well we're doing in Canterbury. It's up to the highest level yet, and that's built on retail sales and consumer confidence, both going up. So in their view, things are looking better on the retail front. They did also add that 5,088 people had come into Canterbury over the last year, so that's got to be pumping up demand a little bit too, also putting in pressure on those house rentals and house sales. So all of that in a big macro sense probably perks up the appetite for the big Genesis Energy float, the last big asset sale off the block. We'll see the final price of that next week, and I'll be talking about that next week, but all the brokers are saying what a fantastic dividend yield this company has got, and that's got the brokers excited. So if you're in the business of investing in shares, you need to talk to one of those folks, because Genesis is really what they're all on about this week. I'm Warren Head for headliner.co.nz.
If you're driving around the central city, CTV's traffic update will assist you navigating the repairs taking place.
Hello travellers, to help you plan your journey around the central city, here's an update with what's happening on the roads next week. There'll be no entry to Salisbury Street from Park Terrace. We advise road users to turn into Peterborough Street and Montreal to access Salisbury from this side of the town. Salisbury Street is down to 1 lane but still runs well. And Kilmore Street is also down to 1 lane from Madras to Park Terrace in most places. Stay tuned for tomorrow's update on a major new piece of work down Kilmore Street, which will start next week. And I'll be back tomorrow with the latest updates on what's happening with the Central City roads. In the meantime, visit the Transport for Christchurch website.
And you can also watch updates right here on this channel at 7, 8, 9 and 12 o'clock midday. Now, before we get to your regional weather, a little reminder that the music this week is from the Thievery Corporation's album, The Richest Man in Babylon. Now, we're changing our music each week. If you would like to choose next week's weather music, send us your suggestion by email or on our Facebook page. And while you're thinking about the music you'd like to hear, let's check out your regional weather.
Good evening, Canterbury. How was the weather in your area? Let's find out. First up in Timaru, Temuka and Geraldine. Much warmer than yesterday, I hope, 18. In mid-Canterbury, Ashburton and Methven, 15 degrees. And in the salmon capital of the world, Rakaia, 18. While we head north, Darfield, 18 degrees. And Leeston and Ralston, slightly cooler on 17. And in the Garden City, Lincoln and Christchurch, not the warmest part in Canterbury, 17. Akaroa didn't steal the warm weather either, 17. As we head into North Canterbury, Rangiora and Kaipoi, we're much warmer, 18 degrees. And moving north to Amberley, you were the same, 18 degrees. I say it every night, Culverden and Hanmer Springs had the warmest weather, 20 degrees. Same for Cheviot, 20. And up in the top of Canterbury, Kaikoura, 18. Let's take a look at what's in store for tomorrow. In Timaru, clear skies after a cold start, with northeasterly winds developing during the day. Tonight's low 6. Tomorrow, expect a high of 18 degrees. And heading to Ashburton, fine and sunny in mid-Canterbury with pleasant afternoon temperatures. Tonight's low 5, tomorrow's high 18. And in Christchurch, cold in the early morning but becoming milder during the day with plenty of sunshine and the usual northeasterly sea breezes. Tonight's low will hit 7, but tomorrow's high is going to be 18 degrees. Kaikoura, fine and sunny with northeasterly winds developing. Tonight's low 5, tomorrow's high 18. In the other areas around Canterbury and Temuka and Geraldine, fine for most parts of the day, a high of 19, a low of 5. Looking at Methven, a high of 18 and a low of 5. Rakaia, not much change, high 18, low 5. Darfield and Leeston have some nice weather coming your way, a high of 18 and a low of 5. I hope you're having a wonderful Thursday, Ralston and Lincoln, a low of 7 and a high of 18. And in Akaroa, fine for most parts of the day with a high of 18 and a low of 7. Over the Waimakariri River, Rangiora and Kaipoi can expect a low of 6 and a high of 19, fine for most parts of the day. Amberley, you have the same, your low 6 and your high is 19 degrees. In Culverden, Hanmer Springs and Cheviot, the high of 20 degrees but expect a low of 5. And looking ahead for Canterbury, fine with thick high cloud on Saturday. Pleasant temperatures, light winds, some fog patches possible morning and night. Mostly fine with high cloud from Sunday through to Tuesday. Moderate northeasterlies expected. Temperatures about average for this time of the year with areas of fog possible at night. Mostly cloudy on Wednesday with a few drizzle patches possible. Light winds may tend to the south. And that's all for the weather in Canterbury today. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Well, it looks like we're in for spectacularly good weather over the weekend. We'll confirm that for you tomorrow. For now, though, I'm Grant Mangan. Good night.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.